Good afternoon and welcome to State News File. I'm Liz Dane. Easton Ham will have a look at the latest highlight letter. What can we expect, Easton?
Well, Liz, we're going to take a look at the state's schedule upcoming for this weekend. We're going to look at some Raptors highlights and also the NHL tonight.
Oh, that's great. We'll have a look at the weather with Stacy later today. But first, here's the today top stories. If you have a trip to plan or a wedding to loved one arrive, there are new rules in place for international travels. They are being rolled out for trying to stop the spread of Omicron variant, but will it help? In the next few days, all travelers arriving here in Canada, including Pearson airports, regardless of vaccination status, will have to get a test and will have to isolate until they get their negative result, and the only exceptional is when you are arriving from United States. Otherwise, prepare to get tested. Effective yesterday, the government is expanding the list of restricted countries in Africa, and they now added Egypt, Nigeria, and Malawi up to the list. Up until now, there are 7 countries in Africa that has the cases of Omicron variant.
To slow down the introduction of this Omicron variant into Canada, that's going to help. That's going to help. You've now looked at travelers all over the world except the United States, and you are, probably going to identify some imported cases.
Bogosh says Canadians coming from those countries will have to go through restricted measures in Canada. The new travel restrictions are part of Canada rapidly evolved strategies to contain. There remain questions and answers about the new variants and how much of a threat it really is. Let's take a look at what we know and what we don't know. In Canada, only a few cases has been detected, and Ottawa is asking the National Advisory Committee of Immunization for update guidance on the booster shots. The news has of Canadian thinking.
Whether we should revise national standards, national attitudes and actions on the use of boosters across Canada in the context of the new Omicron variant.
Some of Canadians thinking twice about their holidays plan. With COVID-19 affecting every life, it also affects those who want to entertain us the most. Our athletes, the State Trojans, even with the virus preventing any game this year, Trojan coach staff and athletes are still finding ways to keep active and giving back to campus.
The pandemic had started. St. Trojan athletes and staff were forced to go into off-season prematurely on a flip of a dime. I spoke to Bob Murray in regards to how he's planning on taking his athletes and his staff members to go through this pandemic, along with keeping in shape and getting ready for a possible return in September of 2021.
I think to answer your question, we've kind of been able to cope by having open communication with each other right from the beginning, whether it's been staff members with our director, Wade, or communicating with the athletes. We've just been very open and upfront on where we stood as an institution and how we were going to handle it. And I think that that's been key. Oftentimes in these situations, people don't want any games to be played or any misinformation. So we shared as much as we could when we could in a timely fashion. And I think that's helped us be able to kind of plug through this as we've gone through now, 16 months of it.
Men's basketball coach Marty Berkeley helps to ensure his athletes' success in their academics throughout the pandemic.
I mean, you do what you can, right? With gyms closed, I watch a lot of game film, try and check in with the guys as much as I can. As a coaching staff, we talk all the time. There's recruiting. There's just checking in with the guys, making sure they're taking care of their school, making sure they still want to come back and, advance their studies and play basketball. After
sitting down with both Trojan leaders, it goes to show that with a great leadership, a strong team will strive through any storm. For St. News File, I'm Daniel Barker Tremblay.
The COVID-19 pandemic put quite a few events on hold, including community festivals. This past weekend brought us at least one festival back. Jaren Fisher is live in the newsroom to tell us more about it. Jaren, what's the festival?
Well, this is the first year for Frost Fest, Liz. The festival was held in both Valley View Park and Sacramento Park over the last couple weeks. Frostfest included lots of games, food, music, and art for everyone who came to the park. It came together in just 10 weeks because a grant was about to expire, but until now, a festival couldn't be held. The festival was extremely successful. Everyone that went to the park really loved it. Festivals are important for communities to come together, take some time off, and for everyone to get to know their neighbors.
This weekend has been absolutely fantastic. The community, the surrounding community has been so supportive. Dover Community Association has provided us with volunteers, which have been invaluable, absolutely fantastic. But more than anything as well, we've had more people here than we thought we would, which is great. But more than anything, there are so many smiles. Everybody is having a fantastic time.
The organizers aren't sure if Frostfest will come back again next year, but the organizers are really hoping that it will. Back to you, Liz.
That was Jaren Fisher live in the newsroom. Those are today's top stories. We'll have your full focus after the break. But first, Stacey has a look of what's going on in Calgary this week.
If you're doing some holiday shopping, check out the Christmas market at Crescent Heights Community Center. This Saturday from 11 to 6. Admission is $2 or get in for free by donating a food or toiletry item. If you're in the mood for an evening of music, check out A Not So Silent Night. The charity Christmas concert starts at 6 p.m. All proceeds support the Not in My City movement. If the kiddos are getting restless, take them to Circus Mirandus. The performance is geared towards children and starts at 7 p.m. Ebenezer Scrooge is back in Calgary. A Christmas Carol is now on until December 24th. Evening show starts at 7 p.m. If you're feeling artsy, check out Sate's Virtual Paint Night. Dip your brush Thursday night at 5 p.m. Those who register ahead of time can be reimbursed for art supplies. If art isn't your thing, challenge your friends to some trivia. Sate's Virtual Trivia Night starts at 5:30 this Friday. The last person standing will receive a $75 gift card.
Trivia night. Well, here's some trivia for you. Calgary is Canada's most sunniest city. Speaking of Canada, let's check out the weather across the country. In Vancouver, it's raining at 12 degrees. Now, there is a jet stream that's moving east, hitting southern Canada, so that means Calgary will get some of that precipitation later on. The prairies are all in plus temperatures, which is very unusual for this time of year. Today, Regina would be an average of -5, and right now it's 8 degrees. Moving east, there's a low pressure system just west of Montreal. While our French friends do have some sun right now, they will be experiencing some gross weather conditions later on. Now let's take a look at the resorts.
Palm Springs and Barbados are cooking at 30 degrees. Cancun just got out of their rainy season. Right now it's cloudy and 28 degrees. Honolulu is also 28 degrees and quite humid. Looks like Mickey is getting a nice tan over in Florida. Sin City is sunny and almost as hot as the showgirls.
It's gloomy in Calgary today at 11 degrees and some cloudy conditions. The winds are blowing at 20 kilometers an hour, and there's a chance of flurries later on. Let's take a look at the province. As you can see across Alberta, all the temperatures are above freezing, except in Fort McMurray where there's a low pressure system. With snowing at -9, it is the outlier. Edmonton is expecting some snow later, so Connor McDavid may have to trade in those ice skates for snowshoes. And that jet stream will cause some freezing rain, so that might cause some icy road conditions. Now let's take a look at the 5-day forecast. Tonight is cloudy with a low of 0 degrees. Now you can see a pattern of snow one day and sun the next. Tomorrow a high of 7 degrees. And after that, temperatures will hover around freezing or below freezing degrees. Up next, Easton Ham will have the latest sports highlights right after the break.
Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Do you think you know someone that is struggling with suicide? The Center for Suicide Prevention provides workshops and other resources of information to help you assist someone at risk of suicide. The Center for Suicide Prevention. We educate for life.
Come and learn the fast-paced world of television production. Find your passion to write, shoot, edit, and direct news, sports, and dramatic productions. With industry-standard technology and the best instructors in the business, SAIT's television production program teaches you everything you need to know for a career in broadcasting. This is television production. Come and dare to be on air.
Welcome back to SAIT News File. Easton Ham joined for a look at the latest highlight. Easton, what do we expect?
Well, the young guns for the Raptors, Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam, they're trying their best, but it's just been a rough start for the team so far.
That's great.
There are a couple games on the schedule this weekend for the SAIT Trojans. On Friday, the men's hockey team will take on Concordia University of Edmonton. Both Trojans men's and women's volleyball have a back-to-back against Red Deer Polytechnic Friday and Saturday. These will be some of the last few games before just over a month-long break for SAIT sports. The Toronto Raptors continue to struggle at home, taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies came out strong in the first quarter, leading the Raptors by a score of 27-18. After the first, the stunned Raptors picked up the pace and attempted to creep back up on the Grizzlies, but ended up trailing at 11 at the half. The Raptors bounced back, though, outscoring the Grizzlies 28-20 in the third quarter, diminishing their lead to just 3 points. Toronto continued to fight to the last second, but Memphis was able to hold on, taking the game by a score of 98-91. Raptors' Pascal Siakam put up a team-leading 20 points on the night. Rookie Scotty Barnes and Freddie Van Vliet weren't far behind with respective 19 and 15 points. The Grizzlies were led by Jaren Jackson and Desmond Bane with 23 and 25 points of their own. Following the loss, the Raptors now sit 12th in the Eastern Conference with a record of 9 and 13. There are 6 games in the NHL tonight. The Toronto Maple Leafs are 14-2 in their last 16 games and will have a tough battle against the Colorado Avalanche. Connor McDavid and the Oilers will face off against Sidney Crosby and the Penguins in Edmonton. 2 struggling teams in Vancouver and Ottawa will both battle for a win. The Philadelphia Flyers will take on the New York Rangers. The Seattle Kraken take on the Detroit Red Wings. And finally, the Golden Knights face off against the Anaheim Ducks. It's now December and the World Juniors are right around the corner. Canada has released its list of invitees to the selection camp and will be looking to create a roster to take home gold. Owen Power, Shane Wright, and Connor Bedard highlight the list. Canada should have a star-studded lineup, as there is a good chance Shane Wright and Connor Bedard will join Owen Power, being a first overall draft pick. Tiger Woods spoke to the media yesterday at his tournament, the Hero World Challenge. Tiger touched on the struggles of his recovery and all the obstacles he's faced throughout it all. He mentioned how his golf game has changed since the accident and how it is weird to see the ball flying out of the sky much shorter than before. Tiger says he is unsure of when he'll be able to compete at tour level again, and if he does, it'll be picking and choosing the tournaments he wants to compete in. And that's a look at sports.
This past couples week, we've been so stressful with all assignment and simulation going on. What do you do to relax, Easton?
Well, sometimes I watch Bob Ross painting videos. They're quite relaxing.
Trees. You know, if you've painted with me before, I think everybody should have a friend, even a tree. Even a tree needs a friend. Now, if you want to reflect those, just pop in some general indications of where they are. No big deal, see? Because we don't make mistakes here. We have happy accidents. Very quickly, you learn to work with anything that happens. Take the big brush, pull down, straight down once again.
Honestly, it's just so relaxing. If I went home right now in this suit and got into bed and watched a Bob Ross painting video, I actually might just pass out right there.
Yeah, that's can really help when you're really tired. It can make you fall asleep really quick.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know why. Just something about Bob Ross, his hair, the afro, just the way he paints those pictures, it's honestly just so relaxing, and I can't get enough of it.
That's really great work. You're really doing great work right there. And those are today's stories. See you next time.